that time, LA had two of everything. They had two baseball teams, two NFL teams, two NBA teams, and of course UCLA and USC. So there's something. There's a game almost every weekend in this town.
Hello and welcome to Here in LA, View Park Edition. Today we talk with Kevin Reece. Kevin is a veteran photographer who has shot all the stars in football, baseball, basketball, and hockey. He's even shot the UCLA and USC teams for getting on 25 years. He lives on top of a hill in South LA that many call the Black Beverly Hills. Kevin was a passenger of mine on an Uber trip, and just after a few minutes of talking with him, I knew he would be great for this podcast, and thankfully he agreed to be on it, and being originally from the East Coast, he tipped his driver. So let's welcome Kevin Reece. We're here with Kevin Reece, talking about View Park.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you for making the trek all the way out here to Hollywood in, I think it's 104 degrees heat today.
It felt like it. Yeah, on the way over. Yeah.
Is View Park cooler or hotter?
No imaginary. No, I mean, because as you remember, I live on top of a hill, so no, I don't see a difference in it at all.
No ocean breeze.
No. I will say this: where I'm located, there's always a breeze up there. There's always a breeze. Okay, in the middle of February, there's a breeze up there. In the middle of August, there's a breeze up there. So that can be pretty good, actually.
On a hot day like today, do you have the AC running, or do you have the windows with a nice draft? What's going on?
We try to keep the air conditioning to a minimum. I mean, beside the fact with these rolling blackouts, and the city is asking you not to run your. I don't think that applies on a Saturday or Sunday though. But my wife keeps complaining about the power bill. So.
Oh, does she?
Yeah. So.
Is she the one that usually wants the AC on, or do you?
I prefer it on. I do. I mean, because I grew up in a house that had none. So back east. So I like it to walk into a house that's cool. Yes.
Right. Okay, so Kevin, when you say back east, you're from New York?
That's correct. I'm from Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Bed-Stuy, do or die.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
And you moved to LA when?
In November of 1986.
86. Okay. So when you saw Do the Right Thing, was that just a love letter back from home for you?
Do the right. Oh,
Because that was Bed-Stuy.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was a little further over, but he didn't shoot that in Bed-Stuy. I know exactly where he shot it, but it wasn't Bed-Stuy. It reminded me a lot of the block I grew up on. Yes.
Italian pizzeria?
No. Well, later on in the later years, no, not. What was it? Tony's? What was it? What's it?
Sal's famous.
Sal's famous. Yeah. No, we didn't have one of those until later on. But the role that Ruby Dee played,
Mama's sister.
Mama's sister, right? We had one of those on my block.
Where she sat in the window and she knew everybody.
She was this old crazy lady. And we also had a DeMea. Her husband played that, right. Ozzie Davis.
Yeah.
And cause we used to have this drunk on the block.
Yeah.
All of us kids grew up born right about the same time. And so it was a beautiful block to, I heard this on the radio the other day about how society is so much different now, and parents cared about other kids, not only their kids, but they cared about the kids, and if you got out of line, all they had to say, yeah, I know your mama, I know your daddy, and I'm gonna go over and ring the bell right now, and then.
What brought you to LA?
I hate to admit it, but my best childhood friend had moved out here a couple of years earlier, and I made 3 trips before I moved here. Okay, And the very first time I ever stepped foot in the state of California was, I think it was 2 weeks after the LA Olympics in '84.
Mm-hmm.
So that's late August of '84.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say, keep in mind, like I have to preface this, that I was young. I did not have any children. I was not married. I didn't even have a car in my name. But to answer your question, long legs and short skirts.
Hey now. Nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's any shame in that.
No, I know.
They've written songs about California girls, I hear.
I had no shame about it. In fact, I've often felt that it was the best thing I ever did.
Was moving out here.
Yes. I had lived at the same address my whole life until I moved here.
Oh. Okay. And did you move to View Park when you first moved out here?
No. I was in Culver City. Actually, Inglewood. We were there for like 3 months. And then we got the apartment in Culver City. And we were there for about a year and a half. And then me and my buddy moved back to Inglewood. And that's pretty much the sequence.
Inglewood, 88, 89?
Yeah. We were really at the corner, Centinela and La Brea. Mm-hmm. We had one of those 925 Centinela.
How about that?
Yeah, and we had like the split level apartment and 2 single guys. You can fill in the blanks.
Did you ever go to? Did you ever go over to Marina Del Rey and go to Aunt Kizzy's?
Yes, sir. Doolin, Adolph Doolin.
That's right.
And I forget his wife's name, but
yeah. Rest in peace, Mr. Doolin.
Well, his son's got a restaurant on Crenshaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Manchester.
Right. I was hemming and hawing about moving out here because my buddy was begging me to move out here. Childhood friend. And he says to me, because he kept taking me all these clubs and meeting all these pretty girls, and and one night he says, I know what you like. I know what you like. And I was like, yeah, Doug, okay, yeah, all right, whatever, man, whatever. I said, hey, come on, let's go. We're going to this restaurant. And so we go to this restaurant, and there was this hostess there. And he says, he walks up and says, Pamela, I want you to meet my friend Kevin. Kevin, this is Pamela. Oh my goodness, and I was like, and like I was stunned.
Yeah,
I was stunned, and he was just standing there looking like,
Doug was right.
I know what you like. And turns out I started dating her.
How about that?
Yeah,
so you got the courage to ask her out right there?
Pretty much. Well, not that night, but Doug set up where her and her girlfriend, we went on, we met at a club over in Santa Monica or something like that, if I remember correctly, or Santa Monica Boulevard up in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And we all hit it off, and she was at the time, she was a part-time model and dietitian. I think she's still a dietitian to this day. But what's really interesting about it, she was from Brooklyn. And went to the school that my mother worked at, PS 137 on Saratoga Avenue. I was like, that was unbelievable coincidence.
Which probably helped in the early
part of yeah. And she remembered my mom. My mom was the head lunch lady at PS 137.
How about that?
Yeah.
What I'm interested in you is you've taken a lot of sports photography in LA.
Yes, sir.
Are we talking all the sports? Baseball, football, basketball?
I was at UCLA and USC yesterday.
The first game?
Yes.
Where was that? Was that
it was in an oven better known as the Rose Bowl yesterday, and a slightly lower temperature oven better known as the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum yesterday.
I
Yes.
saw some photos from there, not from you, but it didn't seem like there was a lot of people out
No,
there.
there wasn't. No.
Okay.
Well, I expected that because if UCLA had 8,000 there, I'd be surprised. But that's to be expected. An 11:30 start. It would have been better if it's 7:30 in the
Right.
evening, but which is typical for UCLA. But and it was just brutally hot. Now they didn't have a temperature, they didn't have a gauge on the field, but somebody later tapped me on the shoulder and said it was like 115 on that field yesterday.
Wow.
So again, I've done those before.
Yeah.
I knew what I was facing, and it really didn't deter me.
So did you have shorts on then yesterday?
Oh God, yes.
Okay.
Oh God, yes. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they have access to a lot of water and stuff, right?
Oh yeah. We have a room for us. Almost every venue, really across America, frankly, they have photo rooms now, photo work rooms. Okay, and it's dedicated to us, with of course Wi-Fi, and most of the time meals and drinks and so on and so forth.
Oh, good.
Especially yesterday. Yeah, they had a whole refrigerator.
They take care of you.
Yeah.
So at a football game, I'm looking at a 75 to 300, which is about the size of my hand in length. Do you have these super long ones that need its own tripod?
Yes. Well, I don't use a tripod. I use a monopod.
It's called a monopod.
Yes.
Because that's easier to walk around with,
Correct.
right?
And you're not allowed to use a tripod on a sideline.
Because you make it injured?
Yeah.
And you might hurt the player.
Yeah, and you can't. 9 times out of 10, if you set up a tripod, you're not going to move it.
Oh.
So it's not meant to be moved.
So they want the photo press people to constantly be in motion.
You don't have to be. But you have to be prepared to move at a split second.
Right.
Yes.
What's one of your favorite places to set up? Let's say it's let's say it's 1st and 20 in the red zone. Do you go into the end zone right away?
I split it up. Okay. Sometimes it depends on what I'm looking for. You're right. If they're in the red zone in the 20, then I might stay on the sideline and try to look for reaction of a quarterback and reaction of the player that scored.
So where'd you get your first real good break in photography out here in LA?
I would say that my first real break was in New York. And then I kind of brought it out here. I was already involved with magazines and doing some work for AP, which I still do some work for AP now. And at that time, LA had 2 of everything. They had 2 NHL teams. Well, they had 1 NHL team, and they had 2 baseball teams, 2 NFL teams, 2 NBA teams, and of course UCLA and USC. So there's something. There's a game almost every weekend in this town.
Right.
At least I would say 42 weekends, because it was 52 weekends in a year, right? So at least I would say 42 weekends a year.
And so that means there's work for you.
Yeah.
Every weekend there's work for you.
If I choose to, yeah.
Back in the 80s and 90s, did you have your own darkroom?
No, not here in LA. I've never had my own darkroom. Here in LA, they're long gone out of business now, but there used to be this place where you could rent darkroom space. Well, here's what I would do. Even into the 2000s, before I bought my first digital camera. I bought my first digital camera in 2004, I think. 2003, 2004. And but prior to that, I was doing film for decades, and I would process my film at home, and then I would rent darkroom space out in Santa Monica. There was a place out in Santa Monica on Broadway, about 2 blocks up from the promenade.
Did you enjoy the darkroom experience?
I miss it.
Really?
Very much so. because that was the hook for me. That was the hook. God rest his soul, my high school photography teacher who was my mentor, that was the hook. And I feel sorry for some of the young folks now that don't have the experience of what we used to call, now we call it wet photography. The hook was on the back of my photos, it used to say photography by Kevin Reece. And that's what it was. Because I took the photo, I processed the film, I went in the darkroom and I printed that photo. Unless it was color and slide film, and that's a whole different story. But to watch that photo come up in front of your eyes, there was nothing like that. It's the latent image.
So when digital happened, you were disappointed? You didn't feel that hook?
Digital has got a lot of pluses, a lot of pluses, and it's got a lot of minuses too.
Oh, tell me some of the minuses.
The main one, I call it the big D, delete.
You've accidentally deleted good shots?
Oh yes.
Oh.
In fact, I recently, probably about 2 months ago, deleted a whole folder of images that I should not have.
Oh.
And I had to purchase one of those file recovery programs, and I could make a long story short, I couldn't find them.
Oh no.
Yeah, so that's my problem with it. That's one of my problems with digital photography. I can show you a negative that was taken in 1922, 100 years ago, and it's still the negative, and it's still the print. You know,
Yeah.
like where these, what server or what is 100 years from now, if I'm dead and gone,
Yeah.
where are these photos going to be? You know, so that's my main issue with digital.
Right. How often are you looking at the back of your camera at a football game like yesterday to see?
Only, you know, in the business we call it chipping.
Okay.
Okay, and a lot of guys do that. I personally, and I can get into a lot of different things about that, but the only time I do that is to see if it's in focus.
Okay.
That's the only time I do it.
Again, because you're moving around a lot.
Yeah.
Your subjects are far away.
And moving fast as hell.
They're moving. You want to be able to capture some of that speed.
Right. And I know how to do that. That's not the problem. The problem is just trying to frame it properly and hope that a ref's ass is not in the photos and just trying to catch it because it's all, in my opinion, sports photography is all about luck and angles. All about luck and angles. Okay. And if you're lucky, you didn't get the ref's ass, or the guy was coming your way, and but that's because you were at that angle, you know. So it all kind of, you know.
30 years into the business, though, you have, I assume, learned where to position yourself.
Certainly.
And you love the game, so you know what's going to happen. Are you good about predicting which direction the coach is probably going to be running?
Well, yeah, you just use two words: predicting and hoping. And that's what it comes down to a lot.
Yeah.
You're kind of guessing, you know. Okay, let's say it's 2nd and 9. Okay, and you're thinking, okay, well, he's probably what he's got is he's on 2nd down, so maybe he'll pass the ball. And then they run, you know, and so, you know, you guessed wrong, you know. So, and again, it's a guessing game. And also, I have a thing that I do, and I've been able to catch some. I'm going to give away a little secret here with my sports photography. But if I see a quarterback going back to pass, now 9 times out of 10, if that quarterback has dropped back 3, 4, 5 steps, he's going to pass that ball. When I see that going on, when I see it, I'm going to leave him and I'm going to find somebody streaking down, because somebody's streaking downfield. Sometimes you catch them, sometimes you don't. But if you do, it tends to be a good photo. You know, it's a good photo if they catch the ball. And I can't count how many times the defensive back makes a really good play at the last second, and like, what do you got? You just got a ball flying up in the air.
Does AP or these other services want a good defensive SWAT?
Yeah, oh yeah, they want all type of images.
Good.
They want all type of images.
Good.
I mean, and action is not the only thing they want.
I heard in sports for AP, the ball has to be in the frame.
It helps, but again, they want more than action. Mm-hmm. Okay, they want action, reaction. They want coaches' reactions. Mm-hmm. They want headshots of the guys sitting down.
Oh.
Yeah, they want that.
For file photos, maybe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And also, I've been, over the years, now this is before I started working for AP, I have a collection of stadium photos throughout the country that I've been to. Every stadium I've been to over the years, I've taken a photograph. And when I say a photograph, the exterior and the interior. Mm-hmm. And I learned that long time ago.
Right.
Long time ago. In fact, I've got a whole series of photos of stadiums that have been demolished. Mm-hmm. No longer there.
Yep.
Chicago Stadium's one of them.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a whole, they want that kind of stuff too.
Right.
And sometimes they even want fans. Mm-hmm. Especially the ones that are goofy with the face paint and the whole.
The black hole.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Don't remind me of that.
You loved Raiders fans when they were here.
No, maybe you did. I'm not a Raider fan, so, I mean, no, not at all. I used to work for Topps Trading Cards.
Get out of here.
No, I'm here. I worked for them for like 10 years.
I love baseball card photography. What I like about it is some of the pictures are just so hokey and ridiculous. It's obvious that they were in spring training, and they posed for the photographer. But then, of course, the best pictures are either the gimmicky pictures where somebody wrote on the...
Yeah. I think that was...
Billy Ripken.
Billy Ripken. Cal Ripken's his brother, right?
That's right.
Right. Yeah.
I think
99% of the photos I took for them were action.
You went to Dodger Stadium or Anaheim Stadium.
I went all over the place.
Did you really?
I used to do NFL games for them, NBA games for them.
They would fly you around the country?
Oh, yeah.
Do you collect baseball cards, football cards?
No. I collect the ones that had my photos on them. Right. But other than that, no. I collect other things. Yeah.
Okay, so they would fly you around and you're thinking, okay, this is going to be on a card. So what goes through your mind about card photography as opposed to newspaper or magazine?
I didn't think it was going to be on a card. What I was always thinking about, I had to. They would give me a hit, what we used to call a hit list. Mm-hmm. And what I was always thinking about, okay, I got to get this guy, I got to get this guy, and I was more concerned about that than anything else.
About not getting him.
Yeah, they would call you a week later. Hey, man, you didn't get this guy, man. Or the manager called this guy in and he pitched in the 8th inning. Where's the photos? So
that happened a few times.
Oh yeah, it got to a point where because some guy had left. Some guy, I think it was in New York. The guy had left. I think it was a Giants game at halftime. And so then they put in a rule that you had to take a photo of the scoreboard, and you couldn't leave that game until inside of 1 minute.
Of the end of the game?
Yes.
To prove that you hadn't just showed up.
Right. It had to be in your take.
Okay. Yeah. I can live with that.
Yeah.
Well, did you have a problem with that?
You could live with, yeah, because 9 times out of 10, you had a 7 or 8 o'clock flight back to LA.
Oh.
And Denver was really hard because Denver's airport is what? I think it's 18 miles from downtown. Mm-hmm. So you had to hustle back, and that made it difficult. But
okay, so for baseball, for Topps, are you sitting in the well next to the dugout?
I still am.
Okay. And so if it's a pitcher, that's a clean shot, right? It should be easy to get that guy.
Yeah, yeah.
What are you looking for with pitchers? Are you trying to keep the ball in the hand shot? Are you looking for reactions? What are you looking for?
I'm trying to look for quite a few things. I'm trying to look for baseball. For me, I've gotten a lot better with it, but for the longest time, I had a hard time with baseball because I know that sounds weird, but baseball, you really have to be extremely patient for the action. When it does happen, it happens very fast. So you know what you're looking for. You know how to time it out.
Okay, but you've got this super long lens.
Yes, that's true.
In that well.
Yes.
What's that one called?
It's a 200 to 600 zoom lens. Yes.
So Mookie, he runs. You don't know where the ball's going to go. Are you using autofocus? Is that the thing?
Oh, of course, yes.
Okay, so autofocus is your friend.
Yes.
But still.
But didn't start out like that.
But sometimes it might focus on the ad on the wall instead of the man, right?
With the cameras that I have, I just recently, about 2 years ago, I switched over to Sony.
Oh.
Okay. And for years, for the long time, I was Canon.
Yeah.
Long time. For decades. And I just recently switched over to Sony. It was the best thing I ever did.
How about that?
Best thing I ever did.
How many shots do you take at a baseball game? 1,000?
Yeah. I've been known to come home. The one to answer your question is probably an NFL game. I've been known to come home with 2,000 to 2,500. That's a lot for 2,500, and that's on two cards on two separate cameras.
You're carrying two cameras at the same time.
Some guys carry three.
You carry one for closer shots and one for longer shots?
Yes.
And you have one card on each, and that's it?
That's correct.
And throughout the game, you're checking to make sure that the card's not corrupted?
I never checked.
You've never had a problem?
No.
God.
I never checked that.
Are you a religious man?
Somewhat.
The Lord's looking out for you.
Somewhat.
I'm going to show you this Andrew McCutchen 2021 baseball card. It's my favorite baseball card from that year.
When he was in Pittsburgh?
Philly.
Philly. Okay.
It might have been 2020. I'm not real sure.
Yeah.
McCutchen wearing...
Now, I'm surprised they did that because back in the days when I shot for them, they wouldn't run something.
They wouldn't allow that.
No.
Okay, this is a super, super short print, which they have. So they have your regular card. If you're an all-star, maybe they'll have a short print, which will increase the value of that card because there's fewer. This particular one, the reason that Kevin is saying they wouldn't have run this is Andrew's got really cool aviator sunglasses on, Joe Biden sunglasses.
Right there, yeah.
He's got it looks like a do-rag on.
Yeah, that was another reason.
Underneath his hat. His braids are coming through the do-rag. His hat's up a little bit, and he's holding two cups. Well, it's one cup with another cup in it. So some people do that for hot coffee. Some rappers do that because they've got cough syrup in there. The Sizzrip. Kevin, you're familiar with the Sizzrip.
No,
he's not. No, he's not. It's a way to hallucinate while you're drinking cough syrup. So that's another reason I would not.
Well, first of all, I only take cough syrup if I have a cough. I mean, and I don't drink coffee.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the kids these days. They got to get high off of something.
Yeah.
And that's how they do it.
Well,
so anyhow,
there's plenty to get high on.
This card is super rare, but it's also super cool. Wouldn't you agree that this is a cool?
Yeah, but again, you got to keep in mind that Tony, I haven't worked for Topps since probably 2005. When I worked for them, they would never have run a card like that, especially the do-rag, because I was told not to take any, specifically NFL, because back then it was only NFL players that were doing that.
Yeah.
And I was told no do-rags.
Right. So you wouldn't even submitted this picture.
Well, it wasn't, no. It wasn't even about submit.
For Topps, do you have selects? Do you say these are the 100 pictures?
Well, first of all, when I worked for Topps, they provided the film, and you had to send your whole take.
Oh.
So you didn't edit anything.
Great.
Yeah. No.
It's easy.
The film days.
Right.
But that when we went digital, that changed a little bit.
Let's talk about the Showtime Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
You got to photograph Magic Johnson and Kareem.
Yes.
At the Forum.
Yes.
during all the, like,
Yes,
probably the most exciting basketball team ever.
you could say that.
Would you?
Yeah, I mean, it was special when you walked in there, um, and you knew that it just like with Kobe. I knew taking pictures of Kobe. I knew I was covering something special. Same kind of thing.
You knew from his rookie year?
No, because his rookie year he didn't get any playing time. Del Harris didn't like him. But when he did get in the game, yeah, he jumped out the gym, and that was in the Forum.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think it was Eddie Jones was in front of him, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And but you knew when he got in the game, yeah, you could see that this kid was going to be something special. Yeah, yeah.
Now, just like you, I'm a fan of beautiful women. Was it distracting to have the Laker girls right next to you?
Yeah, well, I tried to talk to a few of them, but yeah, you talk about spin your wheels, man. Talk about spinning your wheels, but
Your lines didn't work on them.
nah. No.
Okay, tell us about the atmosphere of the Fabulous Forum during the Showtime Lakers. Was it what we imagine it was?
What's interesting, I always remember, was it the Forum Club, I think I remember correctly? I only got in there one time all those years, because they wouldn't let the media in there.
Yeah.
Even though I had a media credential.
Because it wasn't for you.
Yeah, no, I got in there one time.
Yeah.
That's what I remember most about that. But no.
And what was it like?
Yeah, it was crowded that night.
It was crowded.
Yeah, and
famous people everywhere.
Famous, a few, but those same famous people would be sitting down on the floor, So I had pictures of them, and the thing I remember most about the Forum was it was built in the mid '60s. I think it opened in '67 or '68. I think it opened, and it had no luxury box. It still doesn't.
Right.
No, it was special. I mean, it really was.
You felt the energy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
To your point about no luxury seats, I kind of look at that as like one of the last great NBA places that was about the game and the fans.
Yes.
And that's it. Not about the rich and poor.
No,
but about the fans.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's talk about your neighborhood.
Okay.
View Park.
Yes.
View Park is interestingly set up in that you're really close to the jungles, which is not necessarily the best part of town on the southwest side. But then on the opposite side of View Park is that Baldwin Hills?
Yes.
Which is the Black Beverly Hills.
Well,
once was called the Black Beverly Hills.
Yeah. Well, technically, where I live is considered the Black Beverly Hills.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
View Park is the Black Beverly Hills.
Yeah, or Windsor Hills, which they like to call it now.
Okay, so View Park, is Windsor Hills part of View Park, or is that just another name?
As far as I'm concerned, it's all the same.
Okay.
Yeah, and like I tell people, if you're going to send something to me, just put Los Angeles, California.
Yeah.
Don't be tripping it,
The bougie people call it Windsor Hills.
Yes.
If you're keeping it real, you say LA.
I don't ever put down Windsor Hills. Ever.
What about your wife?
Nah, I'm sure she puts LA.
Okay.
Nothing in my house comes unless it's been automatically generated.
Yeah.
I get some of those that'll say Windsor Hills, but 90% of the mail that I get, Los Angeles.
But if you're selling your house, you call it Windsor Hills.
I guess so.
You're trying to front.
Yeah, I guess so.
Tell us some of the best parts about View Park.
Um, well, it's historic. First of all, some of those homes. In fact, the home that we're in uh, was built like right after World War II, built in the late 40s. In fact, I think most of those houses on that block were built in the late 40s. That whole little section there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess the rest of them were built in the 50s and 60s because you can see that. And you're at the top of a hill, and sometimes it's hard getting up there, but and sometimes the Wi-Fi is not all that great up there. Sometimes we have trouble with Wi-Fi up there, and I'm sure they're trying to. Spectrum was out there the other day trying to work on that, but it seems like they're out there every 6 months, working on it. But it's we talked about that earlier. Gentrification has definitely worked its way into my block and all around there. And again, I've said many times I can't blame them. I wouldn't want to have to fight that 5 coming in from Orange County to work or the 101 coming from Calabasas or wherever, or I can't blame them. You want a quality of life and spend some time with your kids.
If you wanted to drive to to Venice Beach, how long would it normally take you from your house?
Depending on the time of day.
Right.
I'm
guessing 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes, half an hour, no more than that. I go down there all the time. I take my bike down there and I go riding all the time.
But I'm saying that to me, that's the best part.
Yeah.
Is you've got this incredible view. It's a very diverse neighborhood. And you're sneaky close to the beach.
And also very close to LAX.
Incredibly close. Do you hear the planes?
Yes, but you don't.
You get over that?
Yeah, when you're tired at night, you can sleep,
On the 4th of July, do you see fireworks all around?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, The Jungles, for those of you who don't know, in Training Day, the Denzel Washington movie, that's kind of one of the most dramatic scenes as he goes to this scary neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that is, as you go down your hill to is that the Crenshaw Mall? It's on Crenshaw and King.
It's actually it's called Baldwin Hills Mall.
The Baldwin Hills Mall.
But it's on Crenshaw, yes.
Crenshaw and King.
Yes.
Do you shop there?
I have.
Do you
not
go to the
that
movies?
much.
Do you go to the
Yeah,
movies
I
there?
have. Not recently.
Was that one of the Magic Johnson theaters back in the day?
Yes.
Okay.
When it first was put there, it was a Magic Johnson.
And now it's like Cinemark or something.
Yeah. But I used to go to movies down there. In fact, I used to take my son down there all the time. Yeah.
Is this one of the theaters where the black folks would talk to the screen?
I guess so. I mean, I don't really pay attention to that, but
Sometimes they're funny.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I remember going down to the film festival down there. Me and my wife. Yeah, African American. I have a friend that is involved in that.
Yeah.
And in fact, she was the chairman of it. But to be honest with you, I probably haven't been down there in about 10 years.
Because it's not a great place to be right now.
No, but I used to go down to the mall all the time. Yeah, I used to shop down at that mall for sure. Yeah, I used to go down there all the time. Yeah.
Are you a soul food fan?
Oh God, yes.
Did you go to M&M's when it was on Crenshaw and King on the kitty corners to that mall?
I don't remember M&M's, but I used to the one
next to the Louisiana Fried Chicken.
Okay, the one now you want to talk about soul food places that I still broke my heart.
Yeah,
the split was Stevie's on the Strip.
Oh, he had 2 locations.
Right, Crenshaw and Jefferson.
Yep.
Which is now what a Verizon, whatever the F it is.
Anytime I look at that building, I cry.
Yeah,
it used to be Verizon. I think even that shut down.
Yeah, probably
across from that big church.
Yeah,
the big mega church.
I never forget.
But Stevie's was also on Florence, I believe.
Yeah, I used to inhale their fried chicken.
Yes.
And I never forget one night, and I think I was first dating my wife. I think I was first dating her, and she is not about what my dad used to call us greasy spoons.
Oh.
That's what my dad used to call it, greasy spoons. And I remember I took her in there one night, and I ordered the food, and I wanted to sit there and eat it. And she's like, "I'm not sitting here. I'm not sitting. No, we're gonna go. You're gonna go." And I said, "No, I want to eat this here now."
Yeah.
And so we sat there, and she said, I "Don't ever order me any food. I don't want any food out of this place ever."
Really?
Yeah, no. But get me wrong. She likes soul food, but not, as she put it, I don't want to smell the grease. I remember that's how she put it. I don't want.
This is why you didn't go to M&M's.
Yeah.
You're met with grease as you walk through that door.
You know.
So does she prefer Stuff I Eat? The healthy soul food place in Inglewood?
Well, there's quite a few of those actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a healthy. I think it's Japanese food.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I've been addicted to that place. So you know, I don't eat that soul food heavy. You know, my dad used to eat chitlins and like, oh my God, you know,
pig's feet, oxtails.
Oh yeah, no.
Is there good places to eat in View Park, or is it only residential?
I wouldn't call it View Park, but right down there, View Park is all residential.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
But when you come down out of those hills,
yes,
yeah, there's quite a few nice places. Yeah.
On Crenshaw.
Yeah.
Do you ever go to Mr. Jim's?
Can't
It takes no teeth to eat Mr. Jim's beef.
No, I can't say I've been there, but I've been to Doolin's a couple of times.
Yes.
On Crenshaw.
So fried chicken is what you order.
Yeah.
What are your sides?
I tend to be. I figure I got to eat something green, so collard greens and probably mac and cheese.
Okay. For breakfast, are you a grits fan?
I love grits, but I don't eat them nearly as much as I used to or want to.
Do you know of a good place to get grits near you?
You can count them on your hand.
Right.
The place on on Centinela in Inglewood. Mm-hmm. You know, I can't think of the name of these restaurants.
The Serving Spoon?
Serving Spoon.
There you go.
I was there a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the coffee company. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Coffee company, but that's not in our area. That's that's in Westchester, technically.
Right.
We know the owner. We got to know the owner. And that's in fact, I guarantee they probably got customers there right now.
In the heat.
Yes. Because he has to turn away people on a Saturday or Sunday morning. That's Saturday or Sunday morning. If you walk up there, that is a minimum 45-minute wait. Minimum.
Wow.
Minimum. Half hour for sure.
Okay, let's wrap up with your favorite photo that you've taken. Do you have a favorite?
Well, I always like to say I haven't taken it yet, but
I like that.
You might be surprised when I say this. Well, I have a lot of sports ones. Mm-hmm. But the favorite I have of my son when he was younger.
Oh, wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
What's your son's name?
Kyle.
Kyle.
Yes. He works for the Dodgers.
What does he do?
He sells you tickets.
He does not.
Yeah. You're right, because if you don't buy a season ticket, he didn't.
He's a season ticket sales guy?
Yeah.
So how old is Kyle in the photo that you love? Approximately.
6 or 7.
So he's a little boy. And what's he doing in this picture?
You know where Treasure Island is?
In Vegas?
No. That's good. That's good.
Why, yes, I do.
No.
Treasure Island?
San Francisco.
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
It's the Bay
island
Bridge.
in between, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I've had good times there.
Good. But damn, there's only army base and some houses on there, right?
I knew a girl in the Navy.
Okay, all right, okay. I know there's a base on there. I have in fact, I have it on my wall. Where you come all the way down. You come all the way down, and you can see the whole bay.
Yeah.
The whole
San Francisco Bay.
San Francisco Bay, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a shot of him looking from behind. It's shot from behind, and he's looking at the whole bay. You don't see his eyes, but it's a photo of him from behind, and it's different. It's different, and it's a great shot. I cherish that photograph. I've had one of my favorite sports photos. Again, I look for reaction more than action. Okay, and I've had photos on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
What?
And
Kevin!
One of them was a reaction photo. Yeah, 08. I think it was 08. Yeah.
Do you get a bonus for being on the cover? Because that's Walter East Jr. territory.
Yeah, you're right. That's good. You know Walter. I know Walter.
Do you?
Yeah, I know Walter.
I know because as a child, that is my first subscription ever.
I had it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it for years. I had it.
And I cherished them.
Yeah.
Every
I threw
page.
them out, but
what is that? The 19th hole on the back where they would show you up and comers.
Yeah,
I loved it all.
I had it for years.
So what's the picture of you that you took for the cover?
LaDainian Tomlinson reacting to a touchdown that the Chargers had scored. He does not have a helmet on, and all he's doing is just clapping.
Wow.
Okay. I've also had a photo.
Well, hold on. When you took that picture, did you think it was spectacular?
No, I was just looking for reaction.
Right.
And I saw him, so I was like, okay, boom.
And so what was the story that went along with that? Was he retiring?
No. He was in the middle of his career with the Chargers.
So,
I mean, he only played for 2 teams, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, no, I saw him and I was like, lit him up.
So SI was going to do a feature on him, or decided to do
that's not how it works. No. First of all, that photograph was sold through an agency.
Okay.
I to this day, I still work with about 5 or 6 agencies, and it was sold through an agency.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess for their upcoming NFL preview, they chose that photo.
Oh, okay. Got it. How did you learn that it was going to be on the cover?
Now that's an interesting story because I had no idea. My buddy called me and he says, "Yo, Kev, your photo's on the cover of Sports Illustrated." I said, "Get out of here! What are you talking about? What are you talking about, John? Get out! Yo, man, don't be yanking my chain, bro."
Yeah.
Yo, Kev, I'm serious as a heart attack. Your photo's on the cover of Sports Illustrated. You didn't know, Kevin? I was like, "No, I didn't know that." He's go to a newsstand. And lo and behold, I went to a newsstand, and there it was. In fact, I have a photo of the newsstand. Okay. And there it was. I have that on my desk at home.
Yeah.
And that, by the way, that's not the only photo I had on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Look at you.
Yeah.
Tell me the other one.
Same thing, probably about 2 years later. It was a college preview. I think it was a USC player. Yeah. And I've also had a photo on the cover of a Wheaties box.
What?
Yeah.
Who?
Marcus Allen.
Really?
When he was with the Chiefs.
OJ's best friend.
Yeah. I don't know about when he was with the Chiefs, though. But
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody's got to make a few bucks when they're
and
glory
again,
days
and
are
that's
over.
the same thing. It was sold through an agency.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was on. I have it. I have the Wheaties.
You
box.
still have the Wheaties box?
Yes. I have a photo of the Wheaties box.
So, is it bittersweet when you sell it to the agency and they end up?
No, not at all. Because the way the business is now, I probably would never have been able to reach out to that company. And, my photos show up in Germany and Australia and Japan. And I get my statements. And there's no way you could deal with somebody 18 hours away from you.
Right.
I remember I was dealing with somebody in London. The problem is that they're gonna take their cut.
Right.
You know.
But you're saying they deserve their cut.
Yeah, I mean, they marketed the image, and I would not have been able to sell a photograph in Australia on my own.
Right.
No.
Okay. Do you have a little celebration when you get on the cover of Sports Illustrated? You get a Wheaties box? Do you take your wife out to a nice dinner?
Well, yeah, if I remember correctly, I think we did. I think we did go out to dinner. Like I said, at the time, my son was 7 or 8 at the time. I think. Yeah, and so I think we went out to dinner, and like I said, by the way, I was also featured in Ebony magazine.
Okay, that's fine. But what about Jet?
Jet. All I cared about was the girl in the middle every month.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. How can they not have Jet anymore? That thing was so
there's
little.
a lot of periodicals that are.
But it couldn't cost anything to make.
Probably not.
It was so little.
Yeah.
And that girl wasn't getting paid anything.
You know what's really interesting about that? To this day, I'm still. Remember the Fifth Dimension?
Of course.
Okay. Did you know that Lamont McElmore was the photographer for most of those?
I did not.
Yeah. You know who I'm talking about? Lamont McElmore?
I don't think so.
He was one of the fifth. He's still. I think they still perform. He was one of the Fifth Dimension. He was the real tall, light-skinned guy.
Yeah.
In the Fifth Dimension.
Yeah.
Most of those were his photos. He was still living here, and in fact, he had a studio. I went over to his house many times. He was living in Encino.
Yeah.
And he was set up there, and he would have the models come through there, and he would set up the shoots.
For those of you who don't know, it's little tiny, could fit in the size of your hand.
Yeah.
Everybody had it in their bathroom because perfect bathroom reading.
I used to read them at the barbershop.
There you go. Yeah. While you're waiting for your turn, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's just short reading, always entertaining, always timely, and then a cute girl, black and white photo of the cute girl.
Well, in those days, yeah, but later on.
Did it go to color later?
Oh, yeah.
It's usually a girl in a bikini.
Yeah. Hot as you know what.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no half stepping there.
Okay, let's finish with this then.
Yes.
A lot of people say, I love LA, but I could never raise kids here. You've clearly raised a son here who's
well, keep in mind my wife was born and raised here.
Uh-huh.
So I always say I'm like Gilligan, I'm marooned. You know.
But you like it here.
Yeah, I do. I always kid. I say to them, it begins at the home, and that was from day one.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't put up with any to this day. He doesn't disrespect. Small piece of advice: we install a rule: no TV or video games Monday through Thursday.
What?
Yeah, none.
No.
But then we had to give in a little bit because by the time he got to Loyola, certainly in junior and senior years, he had to go online to get certain.
So TV and video games included the computer,
Correct.
the internet.
Correct.
So you put an asterisk on that for schoolwork.
Yeah, we shut it down.
Wow.
In fact, we hide the controllers, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Because TV and video games distracted you from your schoolwork.
And we wanted to establish that discipline early on. Well, my wife's a teacher, so that's a whole different. Mm-hmm. She's still in education to this day.
Yeah.
So she knows how that mindset works, that age level.
What if there's a playoff game on Tuesday night?
In those occasions, we did let him watch a Laker playoff game.
Okay.
You know, I remember watching the 04, the Derek Fisher 04 shot.
Yes.
I remember all three of us watching that in San Antonio, if I remember correctly.
So if it's an important game.
Yeah. We
can sit down as a family.
We made exceptions. Okay.
Good.
Yeah, we made exceptions for that. But normally, no.
How great was Kevin? You know who we drive to the serving spoon and eat grits with? Our Patreons. When you stoke us, you're saying, Tony, Jordan, this meal is on us. Eat what you can, take the rest to the dogs. So shout out to our Patreons, Nancy Rolliman, Sean Atlow, Matt Mills, Sean Wallace, Greg and Molly, Jamie Taylor, Mark Johnson, Kira Ann, Barney Grinke, Ben Welsh, Jen Adams, Trevor Wilson, Bree Wild, Dougie Gyro, Christina Up North, Robin Carey, and our newest Patreon, Adam Shorn. Special shout out to Henry Furman, longtime champion of the annual Nicest Man in LA competition. Want to support us, but, want to support this fine podcast that supports Angelinos like Kevin? Go to patreon.com/hereinla and give till it hurts. Also, shout out to our Angelinos. To be an Angelino, all you have to do is PayPal us $25 or more, and we will list you on the Here in LA website and Medium blog forever. Just PayPal your hard-earned cash to busblog@gmail.com. Want to support us, but you just spent your wad on a new air conditioning system? Holy Moses, you can still help. Post your favorite episode on your Facebook. You might even want to post two. Tweet something nice about this. I haven't seen a good Facebook post by anybody in the last little while. So, I'll tell you what, whoever is the first person to post a link to this episode will get a shout out on the podcast. How you like them apples? I do. Tell your friends how Here in LA is spelled, and then it's on Apple Podcasts and Google and Spotify. Here in LA is produced by myself, Tony Pierce, and a man who one day will be on the cover of Sports Illustrated, Jordan Katz. Editing, mixing, and music supervision by Jordan Katz. Songs by Orgone and Jordan Katz. Special thanks to Cindy for creating the logo, Jen for inspiring this, and photographers everywhere who show us the best of everything. R.I.P. Stevie's on the strip.